I wasn't planning on doing a recording today, but the Lord had other things in mind. As you can see based on the title, it's about rethinking the spiritual realm. There are times when I hear people say things, and the way they describe it is not accurate. Sometimes they may refer to a dream as a vision as a dream, and sometimes they call what could be more accurately described as an encounter as a dream or a vision. And this message is not going to be comprehensive. At least I plan it being very short. In 1 Kings 3, Solomon, I'll read from verse 15. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. I stop right there. Solomon, for him it was like just a dream. But a more accurate encounter, or more accurate description, it was an encounter with the Lord, which was similar to what happened in Genesis 20 with King Abimelech. The Lord spoke to the king in a dream, and he woke up knowing the Lord had spoken to him. You also see similarities to that, where something happened in a dream and was real time, like the angel of the Lord who spoke to Joseph in a dream in Matthew 1, and spoke to him again 2 times in 2 different dreams in Matthew 2. Those things were real-time events. And even though it happened in a dream, it was a real encounter, meaning that things that were unfolding were for real. And in this dream that Solomon had, which was actually an encounter with the Lord spoke to him about walking in his ways, keeping his commandments, his statutes like his father David, and that he would bless him. Because he even asked him, ask whatever you want. And what Solomon asked for, he had gotten. Now the manifestation of riches the Lord promised him was going to take time. But after what is written in 1 Kings 3 verse 15, it continues with the 2 women who came to King Solomon, both claiming to be the mother of a son. And the wisdom the Lord had given to him was demonstrated in that judgment. So yes, it was a dream, but more accurately, it was an encounter. Because sometimes people have dreams. In a sense, that's all it is, a dream. But if, for example, let's say you have something that could be called a nightmare, and you wake up from the nightmare, and someone held you in that nightmare, but when you wake up, you can feel as if someone physically held you. Or someone scratched you in that nightmare, and you wake up and you feel scratched, or in some cases, you see the scratch mark. That was an encounter instead of simply a dream. And interestingly, I was just going to use one scripture, but the Lord reminded me of another scripture, which is in compliance with Deuteronomy 19:15. Let every matter be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. Because the Lord reminded me of this. In Numbers 12, when Aaron and Miriam were speaking out against Moses because he had married a Cushite, the Lord summoned them to the tent of meeting. And in Numbers 12 verses 5 through 6, and the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. This scripture captures all 3 of what I've been inspired to speak about. What was happening to them was happening in real life. It was not a dream, it was not a vision, it was an encounter. But the Lord also spoke about dreams and visions, about him making himself known in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. Because some people have had what they think was a dream or a vision, but they noticed in the dream or the vision, they felt cold, or they smelled cigarette smoke. They felt hot or something else. And when things like that happens, it is letting you know that what you woke up from wasn't simply a dream or a vision, but was an encounter. Some of you have heard me speak that when I was 11, I almost drowned in a river in Jamaica. And then suddenly just had peace. And when I looked up, I saw an angel of the Lord standing above the water with a sword drawn in his right hand. What happened is something I saw, but it wasn't just simply a vision. It was an encounter. Because if that angel hadn't showed up, me and the person I was trying to teach how to swim, we would have both died. Now, sometimes people have things like that happen to them, but they don't have vision or experience with it. So even though I saw something that some would call a vision, it was more accurately an encounter. So I invite you, when you're having your dreams, your visions, or your encounters, to create, in a sense, 3 separate categories. Some things were merely a dream. And the Bible speaks about, the Lord himself speaks about dreams that people cause himself to dream. That is one category. But in Matthew 4 or Luke 4, Satan took the Lord up to a high place and showed him all the kingdoms of the world. It suggests he showed him kingdoms of the world in a vision. Because if you go on an airplane and you're 39,000 feet, can you see all the kingdoms of the world? So I invite you, when you have these kind of events, record something as a dream, a vision, versus an actual encounter. And like when it comes to spiritual warfare, oftentimes those are encounters. So on a good note, I mentioned about the angel that saved my life along with the man, or the young man, because we're both pre-teens. The young man I was trying to teach how to swim. I think it was last year, 2021, I was driving through my neighborhood. At that point in time, I had a vision, because also nothing but our visions. Sometimes visions are what could be called internal or external. So I think it was 2021, I was driving through my neighborhood, and I had a vision of my neighbor, or that neighbor, giving me a supercharger for my car. In real life, the neighbor had tried selling me a supercharger, and it was expensive. And for a neighbor to give it to me, it's kind of like, what's going on? A couple of weeks later, he put his house up for sale. So it's kind of like if someone's going to commit suicide, a lot of times they give away things that they have. And that was what the vision was about. So some visions, you see things actually in front of you. It could be like a photograph or like a movie. And some visions last longer than others. But then there's also this. I think this happened in 2018. It's almost like I woke up in a dream. It was pitch black around me. And it felt like someone opened up a bag and threw a bunch of roaches on me. When I woke up, I had a feeling like roaches were crawling under my skin. And it was a demonic attack. So sometimes people are thinking it was only a dream, but it was an experience. It could be a good or a bad thing. So I invite you, dig a little bit deeper regarding the distinctions between a dream, a vision, and an encounter. Because sometimes people say they're going to pray something away. But the thing is, what you think you're going to pray away, it has already happened. So it's not you're going to pray to prevent it, because what happened in that encounter actually happened. And it's up to you and the Lord, whichever way He chooses, to stop those things from being made manifest. So again, in the spiritual realm, some things are dreams, some things are visions, and some things are actually encounters. And for some, maybe a little light bulb is going off in your mind. It's like, uh-oh. If you didn't know before, now you know. And by the way, if all you could focus on in this broadcast is my hat, oh, you missed a whole lot. You missed a whole lot. But God bless you. And Jesus the Christ is Lord.